Because of a part-time job advertisement, I'm trapped in a tiny apartment of less than 20 square meters. A full 49 days. During those 49 days, a 49-year-old man comes here every day.
He said that as long as I gave birth to a child for him.
Just give me 300,000. I thought the 49 days would bring me money that could change my fate. I only found out later. He's not even a real boss at all. What's even more ridiculous is, he had already undergone vasectomy 6 years ago. My name is 𝓀𝓪𝓻𝓲𝓰. I'm 21 years old. I'm a junior at a regular second-tier university. My family lives in a small county town. My father worked odd jobs at construction sites all year round. My mother isn't in good health. There's also a younger brother in high school at home. Others go to college. Parents send living expenses on time every month. The thing I feared most during college was my mother calling to ask questions. 𝓀𝓪, do you have any extra money left? Freshman year, I've gotten food at the cafeteria before. Sealed cups at the milk tea shop. Also distributed flyers while wearing doll costumes. When I'm most tired, I have classes during the day. Going to the barbecue restaurant to carry plates at night. Back to the dorm at 1 a.m. I got up at 7 o'clock again the next morning. I'm not afraid of getting tired. I'm afraid I've been tired for half a day. There are still only 2 digits in the bank card balance. After the start of junior year, father fell off the scaffolding. The leg bone is broken. Mom kept saying it was nothing. Let me go to school in peace. But I could hear her on the other end of the phone, begging relatives for money in a humble manner. After hanging up the phone, I sat downstairs in the dormitory and cried for a long time. It was also that night. I saw a message. Highly paid personal assistant. Female 20 to 25 years old. Good appearance and healthy body. Bachelor's degree or above. Monthly salary 30,000. Salaries can be paid in advance. Any reasonable person would realize that this kind of part-time job is suspicious. But when people are poor, the brain automatically finds reasons to justify the temptation. I think maybe it's really only rich people who hire personal assistants. My educational background isn't bad at all. Not bad looking either. Why can't it be me? I added the other person's contact information. He claims to be 𝓀𝓪𝓻𝓲𝓬𝓮, 49 years old, doing business in medical devices. His friends on social media don't own luxury cars. It's just business meetings and golf courses. He didn't say those frivolous things right from the start. Instead, they behaved in a very measured manner. He asked me what major I studied. How were the grades? Is there any financial burden at home? Do you want to stay in the city after graduation? Of course I do. He said that girls want to change their fate. Working alone is too slow. The afternoon of the next day, we're at a place near the school. Meet at an expensive cafe.
He was wearing a dark gray suit.
Wearing a luxury watch on the wrist. There's a Mercedes key on the table. He listened carefully to me talking about my family's situation. When I mentioned that my father was injured, he handed me a tissue. Chatted for over an hour. He just told me. The so-called personal assistant. It's actually just a cover-up. What he really wanted was someone with good health. Pretty good educational background. A clean-looking girl should give birth to a child for him. He said he was divorced. No children. I'm getting older now. The only wish is to have descendants. You don't have to marry me. There's no need to be responsible for raising children either. After I get pregnant, I'll give you 100,000 first. Give another 200,000 when the child is born. I'll cover all the costs related to nutrition checks and hospitalization. My hand holding the cup kept shaking. I asked him why he chose me. He looked at me and said, "Because you're smart and also short on money. Joe Ming is getting home later and later. Once I couldn't sleep at night because of the pain. Call him." A deafening noise came from the other end of the phone. music and women's laughter. I begged him to come back with me to the hospital, but he snapped impatiently. A minor issue that keeps bothering me every day. Go find my mom. After the phone call was hung up, only those who are short of money understand how important 300,000 is. I sat by the bed, bent over in pain. But suddenly she laughed. It turns out that when a man doesn't love you, no matter how much it hurts, in his eyes, they're all just a hassle. What really helped me see everything clearly, it was last Friday. That day I had just returned from my follow-up appointment at the hospital. Push open the door. I heard the girl's delicate laughter coming from the living room. This sentence makes me very uncomfortable. There's a young girl with long straight hair sitting on the sofa. Good yellow dress. The skin is as fair as freshly peeled lychees. The mother-in-law handed her the bird's nest with her own hands. The smile on my face is because I married into the Zhou family. A tenderness I've never seen before at home. 𝓛𝓸𝓷𝓰, come to our house to play more often when you have time. 𝓀𝓮𝓪𝓵 sat next to the girl, bending down to peel lychees for her. The movements are so detailed, they're almost blinding. But I didn't leave. My mother-in-law seemed calm when she saw that I had returned. It just so happens that 𝓛𝓸𝓷𝓰 has just returned from studying abroad. Our families have been friends for generations. I'll move around more in the future. Let's get to know each other. I'm standing at the entrance. I'm shivering all over. What kind of lifelong friends are these? What do you mean by moving around a lot? How could I not understand? 300,000 was used for my father's medical expenses. I haven't left yet. They've already started working with 𝓀𝓮𝓪𝓵. Look for the next suitable candidate. A few months later, 𝓀𝓮𝓪𝓵 finally proposed divorce to me. He felt no guilt that day. There's no explanation either. Just sitting across from me, spinning the car keys and saying "Sujing." There's no point in continuing like this. I asked if it was your mom who said that. It's my brother's tuition fees. It's still your idea. He remained silent for a while. I guess so. I'll ask again. Because it's very difficult for me to get pregnant right now. He frowned. Not entirely either. It's just that the feelings have faded. I watched him. Suddenly, everything became clear. Maybe the novelty has worn off. It's also something I won't have to deal with anymore after I graduate. Maybe I can't do it like they do. Have the baby as soon as possible, just as hoped. Perhaps from the very beginning. All he likes is just me. Jiang's carefully groomed face. Once this face can no longer bring him satisfaction. I've become completely insignificant. The divorce procedures were handled very quickly. Because a prenuptial agreement was signed beforehand. The Zhou family's property has nothing to do with me at all. The confidence to beg others in a humble manner. My mother-in-law gave me over 100,000. She said this money is enough for you to start over. I stood at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, holding my bank card in my hand. It's ridiculous enough to make me laugh. Over 100,000 isn't even enough for my plastic surgery back then. I spent 200,000 to get a beautiful face. Use this face again to secure a marriage into a wealthy family. What this marriage did give me, after all. It's a condition of recurring illnesses, chronic pain. A period of time that was despised, ignored. Before leaving, he gave me 5,000 yuan. And compensation that doesn't even cover the costs involved. How ironic. What about 𝓀𝓮𝓪𝓵? I heard he went to the girl's house to propose soon after. I heard his mother was so happy she couldn't stop smiling. The me of the past. Seeing marriage into a wealthy family as the only way out. But now I finally understand. A woman's true way out is never through a man. It's not a marriage. It's not even about having a pretty face. It's about being sober and healthy. They said I should take it to my father first for him to be examined by a doctor. It's the courage to pick oneself back up again. He said that even if I ultimately didn't agree, these 5,000 yuan don't need to be paid back either. That early morning, My mother sent me a message. Said that no more money can be borrowed from family members. I stared at that message for a long time. Finally, I sent 4 characters to 𝓛𝓛𝓻. I promise you, he replied almost immediately. Tomorrow is the physical examination. The next day, he took me to a private health checkup center. Blood tests, ultrasound, and hormone tests. There are many projects. After the inspection is complete, he took out a contract. It says above, I voluntarily cooperate with the preconception preparation process. No regrets allowed during this period. Cannot interact with the opposite sex. I can't tell anyone about this either. If you quit halfway, they need to compensate him with 50,000 yuan for his preliminary losses. Then he asked me to pay another 20,000 yuan as a deposit of good faith. I was stunned. It was clearly him who gave me the money. Why do I have to pay first? He explained that previously a girl took the medical examination fees. Lost contact suddenly after discussing nutrition costs. He no longer dares to trust anyone anymore. These 20,000 yuan are just temporarily kept with him. After confirming the pregnancy, it will be refunded together with the first payment of 100,000. I said I can't bring it out. He remained silent for a while. Get up and pick up the car keys. Then forget it. There are many people outside who are willing to do this. Seeing that he was about to leave, I panicked right away. In the end, I borrowed money from 3 online lending platforms and saved up what I'd earned from part-time jobs over the years. The entire 6,000 yuan was transferred to him. After the transfer is successful, he smiled again. Don't worry, I won't treat you unfairly. 2 days later, he took me to a small apartment in the western part of the city. The house is less than 20 square meters. The window faces the wall of another building. There isn't much light during the day either. There's only 1 bed inside, a small table and an induction cooker. He said that it's necessary to stay in a quiet environment during the preconception period. Cannot continue to stay in the dormitory. Can't just run around everywhere either. I don't want to take time off. His face turned cold for the first time. Since you've agreed already, just stop thinking about getting money. On the one hand, unwilling to give anything at all, he took my ID card and student ID. It says that subsequent checks require this. The door is equipped with an electronic lock. Only he knows the password. I can get out from inside. But every time I reached the downstairs level, he would call and ask where I had gone. Sometimes he would also suddenly appear at the entrance of the residential complex. He comes here once a day. Bring some food and vitamins. Sometimes he talks to me about the future. After getting the money, I can take the postgraduate entrance exam. You can also buy a house for your parents. Sometimes he's also very cold. Just ask if I took my medicine on time. Have you been in contact with anyone else? I asked him when he would give me the first payment.
He said he'd give it to her once the pregnancy was confirmed.
I also asked him, why not use more formal hospital procedures? He said he didn't want to leave any records behind. Those statements are full of flaws. But I don't dare to think too deeply about it, because I've already paid 20,000, already taken sick leave. Also lied to my roommate, saying I was going back to my hometown to take care of my father. Once a person gives too much, I'll desperately believe that I didn't go the wrong way. On the 7th day, I began to regret it. On the 12th day, I want to leave. But 𝓛𝓻𝓻 slammed that agreement on the table. They say I have to pay 50,000 if I leave now. He also told me. He knows my school, know my home address. I also know which high school my brother attends. He didn't curse at me when he said those things. The tone was even very calm, but I'm freezing all over. That night, I realized it for the first time. This house isn't meant for me to live in. It's meant to trap me. I started counting the days, 17 days, 23 days, 31 days, 𝓶𝓪𝓻 is becoming increasingly impatient. He said it might be something wrong with my body. Let me take some of the medicine he brought. I don't dare to eat it, just while he's not paying attention. Secretly hidden under the bed. On the 42nd day, he suddenly stopped coming. The phone isn't being answered. WeChat doesn't reply. The food in the fridge was eaten up quickly. The door lock password has also been changed. His ID card and student ID are still in his possession. I only have a few dozen dollars left on me. I didn't realize until I ran downstairs that Mercedes belongs to a car rental company. Because of unpaid fees, it was taken away a few days ago. Morning of the 49th day, I received a message. Cooperation terminated. You're not in good health. The deposit is used to cover any losses. Stop contacting me. I stared at that sentence. My mind is completely blank. I called him dozens of times. Everyone has been blocked. I went to the company listed in his social circle. The front desk told me there was never such a boss as 𝓶𝓪𝓻. That private health checkup center also told me the same thing. Pay the examination fee for me. It's not a company account. It's actually a person named 𝓶𝓪𝓻𝓭. I inquired around using this name as a clue. Finally, I found him in a logistics park in the northern part of the city. He was wearing a blue work uniform, bending over to move cardboard boxes. No suit, no luxury watches. There's no driver either. The so-called boss of medical device company. Just an ordinary warehouse worker. After seeing me, his expression changed instantly. Turned around and left. I ran after him and grabbed his clothes. Asked him why he lied to me. In the midst of the struggle, a woman in her 50s rushed out. Pushed me hard. She claims to be 𝓛𝓸𝓻's wife. Asked me if I'm just another female student who's been deceived into coming here. How could he possibly be capable of making you give birth? He had undergone vasectomy 6 years ago. I stood still in one place. My ears are buzzing. The woman told me the car was rented. The suit and watch are high-quality imitations. He hasn't deceived just me. Most people do it because they're afraid their families and schools will find out. In the end, no one called the police. He knew this for sure. If we're sure of it, we'll feel ashamed. We're not sure enough to say for sure. I'm crouching at the entrance of the logistics park. Can't even vomit anything out. I remember those 49 days. I remember calculating every single day. When can I get those 300,000? I even secretly showed my mother the houses in the county town. Tell her that I'll definitely let her do it in the future. Living in a building with heating, I thought I was trying to save this family. In fact, I almost ruined myself. After returning to school, I don't dare to look at myself in the mirror. Don't even dare to hear the word part-time job. Online loans are becoming overdue quickly. The collection calls were first made to the counselors and classmates. Finally, I called my mother. My mother asked me why I owed so much money. I finally broke down. I cried on the phone and said it all. Everything has been said. After saying that, I'm waiting for him to scold me. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then he said to me, "You can earn more money even if you've run out of it. It's fine as long as people come back the next day." I reported the incident to the police with the help of my counselor and roommate. While taking notes, I'm speaking in bursts, intermittently. There are too many details too sensitive to mention. The female officer who received me told me, "It's not my fault. The wrong one is the one who takes advantage of poverty. Fear and the lack of information control those who are in power over me." Later, 3 more victims were contacted. We provided the transfer records together. Chat records, rental property monitoring, and medical examination information. 𝓶𝓪𝓻 was ultimately convicted of fraud and other illegal acts have been subject to investigation. I haven't recovered all of my 20,000 yuan. Online loans didn't disappear overnight either. I took a 6-month break from school. Spent a long time receiving counseling at the school's psychological center. Work at a convenience store during the day. Pay off the debt slowly over time. Once, my mother sat for over 10 hours. The train comes to school to see me. She took a crumpled wad of money out of an old cloth bag. It's said that father's leg is feeling a little better. I'll earn it again by going back to the construction site later. I refused to accept it. My mother shoved the money into my hand and said to me, "𝓱𝓪𝓻𝓲, you originally wanted to help your family. Mom knows to wait until it's possible again, no matter how difficult it is. Don't sacrifice yourself either." Later, I returned to the classroom again. I posted my story anonymously online. Hope that no more people get deceived. Even though some people call me vain. It's said that flies don't land on eggs without cracks. Some people also messaged me privately about him. Almost went to the same place as before. There was also a girl who told me she has already paid the so-called deposit. After seeing my post, immediately decided to call the police. That was the first time I felt that way. Those 49 days weren't just a disgrace. It can also be turned into a lamp. To see those hidden behind high-paying opportunities, and the traps that come with changing one's destiny. I've graduated now. I didn't become rich overnight. Also, I didn't get those 300,000 either. Father is still doing odd jobs. My mother's health is still poor. I still have to be very careful with my spending every month. But I no longer believe in this world at all. Are there any shortcuts that don't require a price to be paid? Poverty makes people anxious. It might also lead people to misunderstand. As long as it can be exchanged for money, dignity and the future can both be put aside for now. Fortunately, in the end, I still went out anyway. Also understood. A girl's true growth. It was she who finally found out. No matter how difficult the times are, don't risk yourself in them. People often say that women have had their fun enough. Just find an honest person to marry. But no one ever said that men get tired of playing around. I'll also find an honest woman to marry. I once relied on my face alone, has won the hearts of countless women. But in the end, what I got was a leg that could no longer walk properly. And a past that can never be revealed to the light. I thought all I needed to do was marry an honest woman and live a proper life. Then those messy problems can be completely buried. Until that day. That man, right in front of my wife, tear all my decency and dignity to shreds. When I was 33 years old, holding my 3-year-old daughter at the entrance of the scenic area, saw a woman in her 50s. She was wearing a beige-colored suit, wearing a pearl necklace around her neck, dressed in glittering jewels and riches. When you see me, he was clearly taken aback for a moment. Then his gaze slowly shifted away from my face. It landed on my slightly lame right leg. That glance was like an old knife, suddenly pierced into my body, that shameful part of me. It seems like they've caught up again. My name is 𝓀𝓲𝓷𝓰, born in a small county town. My dad used to work on construction sites. My mom sews pant legs and modifies clothes for people. When I was a child, the neighbors always said, "𝓀𝓵 is so good-looking, sure to achieve something great in the future." Back then, I really thought that appearance was everything. Good fortune is simply heaven's favor. I only found out later. Some preferences are like honey. It's also poison. Watch some great videos. It's even better with a new phone. Where should I take my old phone for recycling? This time it's not tap-tap, but tap-tap anyway. Of course, a new phone is perfect for playing games. TapTap offers a vast range of game categories. As small as puzzle games, big enough to be an open world. Even independent games in the 2D genre, everything can be found. Just search and download it directly. In short, I recommend using TapTap for playing games. At the age of 20, I went to a big city in the south. At first, I worked as a waiter in a bar. Because I'm not bad looking. Tall with fair skin, broad shoulders and narrow waist. Many ladies who come to the shop like to order the drinks I recommend. They said about 𝓀𝓲, "It's a shame you're so handsome, wasting your talents just serving dishes over here." At first, I pretended to be stupid. Later, I gradually understood. What they want isn't love, it's youth. They're obedient and have someone to laugh with them. Someone is trying to make them happy. And I need money. That's all there is to it. The first woman who spent money on me was surnamed Chin, 19 years older than me. I call her Sister Chin. She took me to the mall for the first time. "You bought me a coat that cost over 8,000. My hands were shaking as I held the tag. She smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. Clothes are only valuable when worn on the body." That sentence almost melted my bones. Later, I began to wander between various women. There are those who do business. There are people who run beauty salons. Wives whose husbands never come home for years. There are also those who have perfectly happy families but still crave thrills. I went out to eat with them, chat with them, remember what kind of alcohol they like to drink, remember their birthdays, remember every time they complained that their husbands didn't understand them. They were happy. Tipping is given one by one. Someone bought me a car. Someone transferred money to my card. Someone rented a Riverview apartment for me to live in. In the best month, I earned over 500,000. Over 500,000. That's what my parents did in their hometown. Money that can't be saved over a decade. I send money to my family. My mom was crying on the other end of the phone, overcome with emotion. Later, a 2-story Western-style house was built in the family's home. New tiles have been installed at the entrance. Everyone who passed by the village said that old Joe's son had made it in life. Everyone who passed by the village said that. I listened to these words, feeling guilty on the inside. On the other hand, it feels satisfying too. You see, money is really a great thing. It can make the dirty seem clean. To call something terrible, capable, skilled. I was completely out of it during those years. I thought as long as I was young, as long as I know how to coax people, we'll never lose. It wasn't until Sister Chin's husband noticed me. That night, I just came out of the apartment where Sister Chin lives. Blocked in the underground garage. The 3 men didn't say a word. Hit me if you want to. What I remember most clearly is, someone stepped on my right leg with their leather shoe. It's making my ears buzz from all the noise. My sister-in-law's husband is crouching in front of me, slapping my face and saying, "He's become so dependent on me that he's now coming to my house. You're quite bold." I want to beg for mercy. Can't even speak clearly. After that night, I spent over a month in the hospital. The right leg is the most severely injured. The doctor said I'll be able to walk again in the future, but it will have some impact. To put it simply, it's broken, valid. What's even worse is, her husband asked me to take care of these years' worth of chin instruments. "Sis, please give me back all the money you spent on me. Otherwise, he'll make me pay for it." But this money came too easily. It also gets spent too easily. How could I possibly come up with those millions? After staying in the rented room and feeling depressed for a long time, in the end, I decided to go home. My mom saw me limping into the house. Cried on the spot. She didn't ask me where the money went. They didn't even ask me what I've been doing all these years. She just cooked me a bowl of noodles. Speaking of which, that's great. You can earn more money even if you've run out of it. It's good that the person has returned. I lowered my head and ate my noodles. Tears fell into the bowl. After returning to my hometown, I think I can't go on living like this anymore. I'm about to turn 30. The face is barely passable, but my leg is already limping. I don't have much money left either. Those women who used to laugh around me has completely forgotten about me by now. But I still want to live like a human being. I want to have a home. I wish someone would leave a light on for me at night. More importantly, I want to bury that horrible past deep inside. I told myself, as long as I don't say anything, then no one will know. As long as I live my life properly from now on, those dirty deeds, even if it's already in the past. So I started thinking about finding an honest woman to marry. Don't be too pretty. Don't be too clever. It's better to be more modest. Be more down to earth. Can you accept me with this lame leg? Nor will they ask me what I've actually gone through in the past. To put it simply, I didn't suddenly become better. I just can't afford to keep playing anymore. Just wanted someone to catch me. After that, I started going on blind dates like crazy. Among all the potential partners for a blind date, I've chosen 𝓛𝓸𝓷𝓰. At 32, I opened a cake shop in the town. Slightly plump with fair skin, not particularly pretty, but it looks very comfortable. The first meeting was in his shop. I pushed the door open and went in. He's putting together a birthday cake for a little girl. Hearing the door open, he looked up at me. I saw his eyes light up for a moment. I'm all too familiar with that look. Those women used to look at me the same way too. He glanced at my legs, then quickly turned away, afraid I'll feel embarrassed. I knew in my heart that he had a crush on me, to be honest. She's not my type. The women around me before were all so delicate. Knows how to dress up and spend money. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 is different. There's always a creamy scent on her. The apron is covered with flour. The fingers are a bit thick. But she's down to earth. Half a year later, we got married. No betrothal gifts. No 3 golds. That day, I stood on the stage in a suit. My right leg hurts a bit from standing for too long. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 walked towards me in her wedding dress. His eyes shine with excitement. Life after marriage is quite mundane. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 got up early to go to the store. I haven't gone to work at all, because my legs aren't good. Also, I'm used to making quick money. Now let me go to the county town and find an 8-hour shift. 3,000 to 4,000 a month. The gap in my heart is too big, so I only go to the store to help out occasionally. Just sitting behind the counter. Scan the QR code. Passing the bag around. 𝓛𝓸𝓻's cake shop is doing well. He gives me the money he earns every month, he says. Pay off the debts you owe first. Days pass by slowly. It'll get better eventually. But what he didn't know was, my debts aren't related to any failed startups at all. If that chance encounter hadn't happened, I guess I'll keep this secret to myself for a lifetime. The 2nd year of marriage. She's pregnant. Born a daughter named 𝓀𝓲. The day the child was born, I stood outside the delivery room. The moment I heard the child crying, suddenly I felt like a real person again. I have a wife, having children and a family. I want to forget all those awful things from the past. Let it rot in the past. It's impossible for someone to be attractive just by thinking about it. Just by doing that, they can avoid paying the debt. When my daughter was 3 years old, the 3 of us went out to have fun together. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 rarely goes on trips. That day, he was as happy as a little girl. Prepare snacks a day in advance. Twinned braids for my daughter. Put my clothes back on for me. He said you look good in a white shirt. I froze for a moment when I looked at myself in the mirror. The me in the mirror is no longer the person who used to walk around back then. 𝓀𝓲𝓵, who always has people turning to look at her wherever she goes. I've gained weight and now have a beer belly. The hairline has also receded. Fine lines at the corners of the eyes. Only that face remained, barely, with a hint of the past still lingering. But the right leg is limping. The whole person just collapsed. I feel a bit sad inside. But nothing was said about the scenic area. We took our daughter on a small train, bought balloons, and took pictures. Near the exit, I saw Sister Chen and her husband. In that instant, my blood ran cold all over my body. Sister Chen's husband also saw me. He was stunned at first. Then Zhao Chao walked towards me. When he came up to me, he said, "You brat, hiding for all these years." He actually got married and had children too. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 stood beside her daughter, holding her in her arms. The smile on his face froze instantly. She glanced at me, looked at that man again, quietly asked who he was. Do you guys know each other? My throat feels like something is blocking it. Couldn't say a word for half a day. But Sister Chen's husband laughed. He looked at 𝓛𝓸𝓻, glanced up and down and said, You're his wife, right? Haven't your husband told you? 𝓛𝓸𝓻 frowned and said something. The man pointed at my leg. The tone is casual and light. Ask him how he became lame on this leg. 𝓛𝓸𝓻's face turned pale all at once. I quickly hugged my daughter tightly. Let's go. But that man stood in my way. The sound isn't very loud, but it's like having a slap across my face. What's the point of doing that? Back then, you spent millions of my wife's money. I'm making you pay back. You've gone back to your hometown to hide. How come I'm getting married and having kids now? Let's just pretend nothing happened. People around looked over. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 looked at me. The voice is trembling. What he said is true. I don't dare look at him. The more silent I am, the light in his eyes went out even faster. Sister Chen stood behind. Never said a word. She simply looked at me indifferently. It's like looking at something old that's long since expired. People come and go at the entrance of the scenic area. But at that moment, I know I've been hiding these bad debts for all these years. Finally, it can't be hidden any longer. The relative's husband suddenly said, Don't you know? Your husband used to make a living by selling his good looks. 𝓛𝓸𝓻's tears burst out all at once. Then he didn't wait for me to reply. Holding his daughter in his arms, he turned around and left. That day was extremely embarrassing. There were many onlookers gathered around the scenic area. I know she doesn't really want the money. She just wants to humiliate me. Trying to embarrass me. He achieved his goal. When I got home that day, he carried his daughter into the room. Then I took out our marriage certificate from the cabinet. Put it on the table. He asked me if I married you because I'm honest. I kept my head down. His fingers were trembling so badly that he asked again. Is it because you can't make it outside? The leg is also lame. I'm out of money too. Just trying to find a woman like me to catch you. This sentence hurts more than the humiliation my sister Chen's husband inflicted on her. I want to say no, but I can't say it out loud. Because he was right. Maybe I really wanted to live a proper life later on. That's exactly what I thought from the beginning. 𝓛𝓸𝓻 watched my silence. Tears fell one by one. She said, 𝓀𝓲𝓵, I can accept that you're poor. I accept that your legs aren't in good condition. Accept that you've failed before. But I can't accept it. You've treated me as a backup option from the very beginning. That night, he took his daughter back to her mother's house. When my mom finds out, sat in the yard and cried all night long. My dad slapped me for the first time. He pointed at me and said, We've been poor our entire lives. I never taught you how to be a person either. 1 month later, 𝓛𝓸𝓻 filed for divorce. I begged her. I made her kneel. I even think I'll definitely go out to work in the future. I'll definitely pay back the money properly. Be a good dad. But he simply stared at me, 𝓀𝓲𝓵, calmly. Some mistakes can't be undone just by trying to fix them. The day of the divorce, 𝓛𝓸𝓻 walked ahead, holding her daughter in her arms. The daughter turned to ask my father, Why don't you go home with us? I'm standing at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. My right leg hurts so much it's numb. Not a single step can be taken to catch up. I finally understand. Honest people aren't meant to clean up messes others make. They also feel pain and wake up too. They too will, in the face of the truth, let go of what was once. I turned off the lamp I gave you with my own hands. I spent 200,000 to get a new face. Just to marry that wealthy second-generation heir whom everyone envies. I once thought that as long as I stepped into a wealthy family, I'll be able to completely get rid of my ordinary life from the past. Live a life where people look up to you. I never thought of it either. Husband's hands will become the last straw that broke my back. My name is Su Jing. I was 24 years old before that. I'm just an ordinary girl. Everyone thinks I'm the best. The ultimate goal is to save up some money. Find an honest man to settle down with and live a stable life. But I'm not willing to accept this. Why are some girls born in Rome from the moment they're born? And I can only struggle at the bottom. What changed my mind was an old classmate. I heard she married a rich second-generation heir after getting plastic surgery, living in a villa and driving luxury cars. At that moment, a crazy thought crossed my mind. Since he can do it, why can't I do it? I maxed out my credit card. After gathering 200,000, laid on the operating table. 8 hours later, I got a face that was so delicate it seemed almost unfamiliar. Full forehead, straight nasal bridge, smooth jawline, a slight smile. Their eyes seemed to carry a sense of charm. I know I have enough chips. Later, I signed up for the most expensive private swimming lessons in the city. Met Zhou Ming there. Zhou Ming is 1.75 meters tall. Yet the weight is nearly 180 pounds. The appearance has nothing to do with being handsome. But that car outside his door, worth millions. The supercar speaks for itself. After asking around extensively, it's confirmed that Zhou Ming is indeed a true second-generation rich kid. In this game of love, I disguised myself as someone who knew nothing. A gentle and considerate girl who understands the ways of the world. It wasn't long before Zhou Ming started to pursue me aggressively right away. Luxury car service for transportation. Luxury handbags keep arriving at my doorstep non-stop. When he proposed, I feel like I finally won. But reality quickly gave me my first slap in the face. Zhou Ming's mom met me for the first time. There was disdain in her gaze. She's used to seeing pretty girls who want to climb the social ladder. It's obvious at a glance that I come from a humble background. Every word they said was a reminder that I wasn't good enough for the Zhou family. But at that time, Zhou Ming was completely obsessed with me. Even went on a hunger strike just to marry me. The mother-in-law has no choice. Can only reluctantly agree. But before the wedding, he made me sign a whole stack of agreements. Again, took me for a full premarital examination. Make sure there's nothing wrong with my body. He only agreed after some persuasion. Life after marriage was indeed like that at first. It fits my fantasies about luxury lifestyles. I quit my job. Going shopping, getting beauty treatments, and arranging flowers every day. My mother-in-law gives me 20,000 yuan as pocket money every month. There's an aunt taking care of things at home. But not for long. Zhou Ming's messy living habits began to show through. Socks are often worn for 2 or 3 days before being changed. Upon returning home, I simply threw my shoes in the hallway as soon as I took them off. Lay on the sofa without even washing my feet. From time to time, I also pick at my feet. The same pair of airtight sneakers. He can wear it continuously for several days. The shoes are stuffy and damp inside. Even a few times, I saw him after he got home. Carelessly threw the socks on top of my clothes. I've reminded you several times. He always said it in an impatient manner. Men aren't that particular about such things. Not long after that, my mother-in-law started urging me to give birth. Bowl after bowl of traditional Chinese medicine was brought to me. I looked at the face in the mirror, the face I'd paid 200,000 for. Suddenly felt, in this villa, I'm nothing more than a reproductive machine, neatly packaged up. To please my mother-in-law, also to consolidate one's position. I've started actively preparing for pregnancy. From that time on, there's something wrong with my body. At first, there was only occasional itching and discomfort in the lower abdomen. I thought it was just a common inflammation. I didn't take it too seriously at first, but later on, pain repeats over and over again. It tormented me so much that I couldn't sleep all night. I went to the hospital to get my medicine. After returning home, disinfect all bed sheets and underwear with high heat. Even the basin used for washing underwear was replaced with a dedicated one. Strangely enough, however, the situation hasn't improved at all. Instead, it gets worse with each occurrence. A year has passed. My stomach isn't moving at all. My mother-in-law's attitude became completely cold. I have no idea where they got those bowls from. A dark-colored, fishy-looking folk remedy, forcing me to drink every day. I don't dare to refuse. One can only endure those hardships with eyes closed. Swallow the foul-smelling medicinal juice. Over the past year or so, I've lost a lot of weight. The skin also became dull and dark. But my stomach still shows no reaction. Physical discomfort also haunts me like a ghost. My mother-in-law's words are getting more and more unpleasant. 𝓀𝓬 has also changed. He's coming home later and later. Sometimes I don't even go home at night. When I went to my mother-in-law to complain, she's trimming the 𝓀𝓵𝓬. After listening, she coldly cut off a leaf. Isn't it normal for men to socialize outside? Which successful man stays with his wife every day? Mind your own business. Don't act like a nagging woman and stare at men like that. I looked at the leaf on the ground. I'm shivering all over. It turns out I never really was a lady of the house at all. When they're happy, I'm just a pretty decoration. When I'm not happy, I'm just that leaf that can be cut off at any moment. Until half a month ago, I suddenly had such severe abdominal pain that I couldn't stand up. There is also abnormal bleeding. My mother-in-law is afraid I'll delay having a grandson. Finally, 𝓀𝓬 took me to the hospital. In the consulting room, the doctor was flipping through the examination reports. The frown grew deeper and tighter. How long has this situation been going on? My voice is trembling. It's been over 2 years. The doctor remained silent for a moment before suddenly asking, "Where's your husband? Are one's daily hygiene habits good or not? Does he have athlete's foot or onychomycosis?" I froze and instinctively looked at 𝓀𝓬. He's looking down at his phone. Only upon hearing this did she impatiently lift her head. Does nail fungus count? It's been many years like this. It didn't affect my life either. The doctor asked him to stretch out his hand. 𝓀𝓬 reluctantly spread his hands out. Only then did I really notice his nails. Gray-brown thickening and deformation. A few of them have even started to curl up. I suddenly remembered. It seems like his fingernails and toenails. All of the nails look like this. I've seen it before, I just haven't encountered it lately. But President 𝓀𝓬 always says it's nothing serious. I did it to please him. Never dared to say too much. The doctor's expression darkened immediately. I wonder if your toenails are the same too. 𝓀𝓬 reluctantly nodded his head. The doctor continued. This isn't a minor issue at all. Onychomycosis is a fungal infection. It's contagious. If left untreated for a long time, close contact can easily lead to repeated cross-infections, no matter how much he disinfects the clothes. It's pointless to pay attention to hygiene anyway. In that instant, my brain felt like it had been hit hard. It turns out that this pain I've endured over the past 2 years, it's not that I'm not clean enough. It's not that I wasn't careful enough. It certainly isn't that I have bad luck. The real problem lies with my husband. However, 𝓀𝓬 seemed completely unconcerned. Isn't it just onychomycosis? It's that serious? And the first thing my mother-in-law said after hearing it was, "How should I treat my son's fingernail problem?" The doctor took a box of medicine from the drawer. Ingrown toenails can't be delayed any longer. Amorphine hydrochloride topical solution can be used. Apply once a week. Apply to hands and feet as well. Keep applying until new nails grow in. The mother-in-law immediately picked it up and examined it carefully, much more attentive than when he was reading my report just now. Then she turned to 𝓀𝓬 and said, "Do you hear that?" I'll watch you apply it when we get back. Don't be lazy, not once. Ming frowned. So troublesome. My mother-in-law's tone was incredibly gentle. Even if it's troublesome, it still needs to be dealt with. You still want to start a family in the future. What does this shape of fingers resemble? The words, and eventually start a family in the future, piercing my heart like a needle. I'm still sitting here. It was still his wife. But his mother-in-law has already started thinking about his future. I want to ask the doctor what I should do. But the mother-in-law had already gotten up and said something perfunctory. All right, you can schedule an appointment with a specialist another time. Let's go back first. Coming out of the hospital, the mother-in-law and Ming sat in the back seat. Along the way, she kept instructing Ming on how to apply the medicine. When should I come for a follow-up visit? And I was sitting in the passenger seat, holding my own test report in my hands, like a stranger who happens to be taken along on the way. After going home, I continued to take my medicine. Continue with the review. The doctor said my condition needs to be treated gradually. But clearly, the mother-in-law couldn't wait. The allowance she gives me has been reduced from 20,000 to 10,000. It went from 10,000 to 5,000 again. I asked her if her family was in financial trouble. She only glanced at me in the mirror. You're not working right now anyway. Also, no social engagements. Not to mention raising children. What's the point of spending so much money? Not to mention raising children. He spoke very softly. But it pierced right into my heart like a knife.